started with a question that caught me completely off guard. We were sitting in the living room, the late afternoon sun spilling across the carpet, when my younger brother looked up from his phone and asked, "Why don't women like me?" The room felt suddenly smaller, as if the air itself had tightened. I knew the answer. I had always known the answer, but for 24 years, I had never said it out loud. My brother has Asperger's. He's high functioning, and I've always seen him as capable, intelligent, and deeply himself, but also complicated. He lives with my parents, and I had just moved back home to help care for them during the stay-at-home orders. We were together in the same space for the first time in years, and in that space, there was nowhere to hide from truths we had all learned to tiptoe around. Growing up, our family revolved around him. He was the only boy, and his diagnosis gave my parents a reason, or maybe an excuse, to shield him from anything that might hurt. My mom in particular told him over and over again that he was smarter than everyone else, more advanced, more logical. And because he believed it, he started to believe something else too, that women were inherently irrational, illogical, hysterical, that they couldn't see the truth the way he could. I've watched the way he talks to women. I've been on the receiving end of it. He will say something cutting, something that digs right under your skin, and when you react, when you flinch, or your voice tightens, he'll deliver the line he's been polishing for years. "You're being irrational. I'm just being honest, and you can't accept it." It's a phrase that's driven me and my sisters to the brink. A phrase that takes all the air out of a room. So when he asked me that day, I didn't dodge. I didn't soften it into something polite. I told him the truth. I said, "The way you talk to women comes across as extremely demeaning and borderline sexist. You act like you can read women perfectly, but you're almost always wrong." For a split second, the words just hung there. Then I saw the flicker in his face, the tight jaw, the way his eyes narrowed just slightly. It landed, and it stung. Later, I found out he had gone straight to my parents to complain. He told them I had attacked him over things he couldn't control. And just like that, the old dynamic came roaring back. My parents called me into the kitchen. They didn't shout, but their disappointment was sharp enough to cut. They told me I had ruined his confidence, that I had been cruel, that I needed to think about the damage I might have done. And here's the part I can't stop thinking about. Because even as they spoke, even as guilt pressed hard in my chest, there was another feeling underneath. Relief. Relief that for once I had said it out loud. Relief that I hadn't swallowed the truth to protect him, or to protect the version of him my mother has been holding up like a glass figurine all these years. This was the first time I had told him how his behavior actually made me feel. The first time I'd broken the unspoken rule in our family, the one that says, if he's upset, it's your fault. Growing up, if my brother lashed out or said something hurtful, it wasn't him who was asked to apologize. It was us, the sisters, who were told to be more patient, more understanding, more careful. And over time, those words trained us to carry the weight of his comfort on our shoulders, even when it crushed our own. But what I told him wasn't about comfort. It was about reality. Because the truth is, his struggles with dating aren't because of his diagnosis. They're because no one has ever told him, at least not in a way he could hear, that sexism will get you nowhere. That talking to someone as if you're above them is not honesty, it's arrogance. He's capable of better. I've seen it. He can be kind, thoughtful, even funny when he's not locked into this need to prove he's right. But I think the coddling, the years of being told he's the smartest in the room, have built something in him that's hard to dismantle. When he told my parents I'd attacked him, it wasn't just his feelings he was defending. It was the identity they gave him, the one where he's the misunderstood genius and the rest of us just can't keep up. And now, I can't stop replaying that moment. His question, my answer. The look on his face when I said the words. The way my parents closed ranks around him, like they always do. Was I too harsh? Maybe. Could I have been more tactful? Probably. But he asked. He asked me why women don't like him. And I told him, I don't know if it will make any difference. Maybe he'll just write me off as another irrational woman. Maybe my parents will keep shielding him from anything that challenges the way he sees himself. Maybe the next time a date gets up and leaves halfway through, he'll still be wondering why. But maybe, just maybe, somewhere in the back of his mind, he'll remember that afternoon. He'll remember that his sister looked him in the eye and told him the truth. So, am I the asshole? Because I didn't just tell him for the sake of honesty. I told him because I care. Because if no one says it now, the world will say it later. And it will be louder and colder and far less forgiving. And maybe that's the part I need to make peace with. That sometimes caring for someone doesn't look like protecting their feelings. Sometimes it looks like putting the truth in their hands and hoping they can carry it. You know, stories like this sit in a complicated place. On one hand, there's the love of a sibling who has seen your best and your worst and still wants you to do better. On the other, there's the fear that the truth will shatter something you can't rebuild. But here's what I keep coming back to. Shielding someone from the truth doesn't keep them safe. It just keeps them stuck. And for people on the spectrum, for anyone really, being stuck in a story about yourself that isn't quite true can be more isolating than anything else. What OP did here wasn't an act of cruelty. It was an act of risk. Risking the peace in her family. Risking the way her parents see her. Risking the possibility that her brother might turn away from her, at least for a while. All for the chance that he might one day see what she sees. That the problem isn't the world refusing to understand him. It's the wall he's built between himself and the people in it. So here's my question to you, listening right now. If someone you love was walking around with a blind spot that was hurting them, and maybe even hurting others, would you have the courage to point it out, even if it meant they might never thank you for it? Because sometimes, being the one to tell the truth means being the one who takes the hit, and the hit hurts. But if the choice is between keeping the peace and helping someone grow, which one would you choose?